Some brands don't need reinvention, they just need to be repositioned. Because when a brand already holds emotional equity, you're not starting from scratch. You're building from collective memory. And that is extremely powerful. In this video, I'm breaking down 3 nostalgic brands I believe are ripe for a real comeback and how we can bring them back with actual strategy, not just one-off nostalgia drops. We'll talk about how to relaunch them to be relevant in modern times. And I'll show you how each one connects to the cultural trends shaping 2025 and beyond. So let's start with the brand that shaped my creative life as a teenager. I was a massive Queen fan growing up, like obsessively so. I was 9, and back then, before YouTube, before Spotify, the way I connected with music was completely analog. I would sit in my room for hours with my cassette recorder, hitting play, pause, rewind, just to write the lyrics down by hand. That was my way of not only learning English, but also learning the songs. It wasn't just about the music. It was an entire ritual, and Maxwell was at the center of it. Recently, Maxwell has quietly started to re-enter the conversation. They launched a Bluetooth-enabled cassette player that got a lot of love on platforms like Vice and Hypebeast. It's such a cool retro move, but the problem is they're treating it like a product dropped, a quirky, nostalgic gadget, and that's about it. But what they're missing is the bigger opportunity. So if I were repositioning Maxwell today, I wouldn't just make it about audio. I'd reposition Maxwell as a ritual tech brand, not just a tech company, a brand that helps you slow down, reflect, and create through sound. Now, we're living in a time where people are craving presence. There's a huge wave of interest in analog experiences like film, photography, journaling, handwriting, and slow mornings. And audio is a big part of that movement. So instead of just launching one player, Maxwell could own an entire emotional category. They could offer voice journaling kits, cassette-style recorders for creators, notebooks for lyric writing, and yes, even digital layers like QR codes that unlock bonus, mixtapes, or guided prompts for memory work. This is a huge brand opportunity, and it doesn't hit just nostalgia. It hits emotional utility, and it hits intentional presence packaged in a cool nostalgic wrapping. Because you see, Maxwell never just sold blank tapes. They sold access to memory, and I love to see them build something deeper around it. Now, let's go from mixtapes to movement, because the next brand has been around since 1905, and somehow it still hasn't claimed its cultural comeback moment. And I'm talking about Chicago skates. If you grew up in North America, you've probably seen them. Those white leather boots with hot pink wheels. They were everywhere. Roller rings, driveways, boardwalks, and roller skating is so back. It's blowing up on TikTok right now. There are roller discos happening in cities all over the world again. And for a lot of people, skating is more than having fun. It's therapy. And somehow, Chicago Skates, the brand that's been doing this for over 100 years, is completely missing from that cultural moment. Here's how I'd bring them back. First, I'd stop positioning them as a sports brand. Instead, I'd turn Chicago Skates into a creative wellness brand. Because today, movement isn't just about performance. It's about joy, emotion, and expression. Imagine a line of skates designed for that. Skates that look and feel like they were made for creative self-care. Retro futuristic designs, holographic finishes, artists collabs. Then imagine dropping city-specific collections like Skate LA, Skate Berlin, Skate Seoul, each with its own curated playlist, mood board, visual campaign, and local stories. I'd also launch a creator fund supporting dancers, mental health advocates, and movement creators who use skating for emotional release. Because here's the thing, Chicago Skates shouldn't be about competition. It should be all about community. And their comeback depends on owning that identity, not chasing hype. And to make sure they don't disappear again, we wouldn't stop at one product, we'd build a full ecosystem. Product, content, events, and emotional storytelling. Something that creates real momentum online and offline. Chicago Skates can own the space between nostalgia and mental health, and that's a powerful place to be. All right, let's talk about the third brand, and in my opinion, the one with the biggest strategic opportunity. It's called Lotto. Lotto is a heritage Italian sportswear brand. They've been around since the 1970s, and if you played tennis or ran track growing up, especially in Europe, you definitely know that double diamond logo. But over the years, Lotto quietly faded from the spotlight, overshadowed by louder, flashier sports brands like Nike and Adidas. Now, here's why I believe Lotto is the one to watch. It has much more white space than brands like Kappa, for example. It's highly underused, it's not overhyped, and that gives anyone working with them room to build something strategic without fighting for space in a saturated category. So if I were repositioning Lotto in 2025, I take it out of traditional performance altogether and reframe it as a brand for creative discipline. Lotto already has elegance. It has quiet prestige. It's Italian. It's minimal. It's just waiting for the right narrative. So I'd launch a capsule called Love All, a genderless courtwear line for creative founders, indie athletes, and people who see tennis as a metaphor for life. Discipline, solitude, self-mastery. We'd work with storytellers, not just athletes, writers, musicians, designers, people who treat their practice like performance. And I'd probably explore digital extensions too, like custom tailoring powered by AI, digital collectibles that unlock real experiences, or even court tokens that give you access to studio events or behind-the-scenes content. To keep Lotto from slipping again, we wouldn't just make it a fashion label, we'd turn it into a quiet sport luxury IP with a full brand universe made for the calm creatives and founders for this next generation. Now, Lotto doesn't need to be flashy. It simply needs to find belonging. And with the right partner, it could become the next timeless brand for people who value identity over trends. So, what do all three of these brands have in common? They all hold emotional equity. They all tap into something personal, cultural, and familiar. But without a modern strategy, nostalgia just becomes a fleeting moment. The real opportunity is to build ecosystems, not just drops, not just cute relaunches that disappear in 6 months. I'm talking about building systems that are sustainable, meaningful, and emotionally relevant today. So if you're watching this as a founder, a marketer, a strategist, or just someone obsessed with great brand building, this is the future. Reinterpreting all brands for the modern consumer, redesigning how they connect with people now and in the future. Thanks for watching. And if this resonated, hit subscribe and follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram for more. I'll see you in the next one.